Seyun is one of the top students in his school, let alone his class. He has no hobbies in his life. The only thing he likes to do is study. Even during the breaks, he puts his headphones on and stays hidden in his own bubble. One day, his teacher gives him an award as he came first in the school's math competition. Along with him, Yang Bin is also awarded. You can't help but wonder how this guy got an award. It becomes clear during the break that he is a bully. He and his group mess up with another boy from the class. They tell him that he will accomplish nothing in his life, and send him to bring them some drinks. Then, Yang Bin throws a shoe at Seyun, who tells him to be more careful. Yang Bin replies that it was an accident, and Seyun tells him once more to be careful not to cause more accidents. Even though Seyun is a loner, he will not tolerate bullying. Yang Bin stares right into his eyes, but Seyun is ready for a fight. Their interaction is broken when a bunch of baseball players charge into the class, looking for a boy named Suho. Suho is woken up by his fellow students, and the baseball players attack him because he flirted with their captain's girlfriend. This young man must be an ex-MMA fighter, because he really teaches those guys a lesson, even though he is outnumbered. When the baseball players run like chicken, Suho notices that he has dropped Seyun's stuff on the floor. He picks it up for him, and apologizes for the inconvenience. The next day, Seyun can't find his gym class uniform, and stares at Yang Bin, knowing that he must be the one to steal it out of his backpack. Later at the field, Seyun is the last to finish the course, and the bullies make fun of him. Suho gets involved by throwing a shoe at the bully, and asking him to get it back to him. The bullies don't dare to mess with him because he can beat all of them up. Seyun decides to meet the bullies at the locker room, and asks them for a favor, to stop messing with him. The bullies corner him and grab him by his throat, but they are forced to stop when a teacher walks in. Yang Bin says that the two of them are friends, and Seyun supports the claim. That same night, Suho bangs on Seyun's door, because he has mixed up the addresses where he was supposed to deliver some pizzas. He seizes the opportunity to ask his classmate for some water, and drinks the whole bottle. The next morning in class, a new student joins in, Beam Suk. Yang Bin tries to approach him, but Seyun gets involved and spirits heat up. However, Suho wakes up from his nap, and tells them to stop it because they are making too much noise. Later, the bullies hit the club, and they receive a drug delivery from a dealer. Yang Bin seems to know the guy, Suk Dae. In fact, the two of them are cousins. Bin is trying to figure out a way to hurt Seyun, so he asks his cousin what would happen if the drug came in contact with somebody's skin. Suk Dae tells him that the person would feel dizzy and probably vomit. Afterward, Seyun walks through the street, when he is stopped by Dae's guys who give him some drugs. As it appears, they are just giving it to the wrong person. In any case, things get heated, and Seyun is about to attack the dealers. Suk Dae removes his guy from Seyun's way, and allows him to walk away. When he does, he tells his guys to be more careful about who they mess with. This little guy was about to attack them. The next day in school, Yang Bin approaches the new student and reveals that he has talked with his bullies from his previous school. He knows that he switched schools because they made his life a living hell. However, he will safeguard his secret if Beam Suk helps him. During their test, Beam slaps Seyun's neck in order to stick a drug on his skin. Soon, Seyun gets dizzy, and runs to the bathroom to vomit. When he returns to class, he finds the drug and removes it. He starts slapping himself in order to get back to normal. Later, when the teacher gives them the correct answers, Seyun notices that his performance was very poor. That infuriates him, and he decides to take action. He wraps Yang Bin's head with a curtain, and uses a book to hit him. When he is finished, Yang Bin's nose is broken, and the bully can barely breathe. Seyun would take it one step further, but Suho stops him, saying that he did enough. Seyun's blood is boiling, so he now attacks Suho. Suho gives him a little punch to push him back, but Seyun gets even more angry. Eventually, their fight is broken when the teacher walks into the class. Yang Bin is taken to the hospital and one of the teachers takes Seyun there. Yang Bin's mother wants to speak to Seyun's mother, but the boy says he does not have a mother. Seyun tells the woman that her son bullied him and he just got what was coming to him. Then, he shows her the drug, and empties Yang Bin's backpack on the hospital bed, revealing a full packet of drugs. With these new clues, Yang Bin's mom will not take any legal action against Seyun. Nevertheless, there is more trouble awaiting him in class. Yang Bin's friends approach Seyun, and tell him that they want to fight with him after class. Seyun wants to do it now and takes them to the bathroom. He locks the rest of the students outside, and turns at the two bullies. He takes his pen out and starts clicking it, recalling Pavlov's famous dog experiment. In short, Seyoon knows that the two bullies have linked the pen's clicking sound with the pain he caused them yesterday, and uses that psychological trick to intimidate them. The trick works perfectly, and Seyoon returns back to class. While Seyoon walks through the corridor, the other kids ask him if he beat the bullies up, but he replies to them with a question. Since one of these guys his friends and care about him, he plainly walks away, leaving them behind. At the hospital, Suk-dae visits his little cousin, and Yongbin tells him that he wants to pay him to beat Seyoon up. At the same time, Seyoon has a random meeting with Suho, who tells him that they should grab some food together sometime. The next morning, Seyoon is the first student to come in, but he also finds Suho sleeping in the class. Later at the cafeteria, the boys eat together, and Suho reveals that he likes to come here to sleep right after work. He knows that if he goes home, he will not be able to wake up in the morning and he will miss class. Elsewhere, Suk-dae is forcing a young boy to sign for a loan from his boss because he has lost money while gambling online. Suk-dae is also met by his cousin, who says that today is the day to take action. Suk-dae and his group wait for Seyoon to finish school and meet him right outside. Suk-dae tells the young boy that this is not personal, it's just business for him. After slapping Seyoon, he takes him along. Beum-suk has witnessed the incident. He runs back to class and wakes up Suho, saying that he needs to help Seyoon. Suho proclaims this is not his responsibility, plus, he has to go to work. However, Beum-suk tells him that he will pay him double his daily salary if he helps him out. Suho likes that offer, and takes Beum along to ride away. Suk-dae, Yongbin, and the rest have taken Seyoon to a secluded location. Yongbin lectures Seyoon about how he should have never messed with him, but while he talks, Seyoon is trying to use his brain in order to get an advantage in what seems to be an upcoming battle. He estimates that the two guys at his left will get involved along with Bin, but he can use his surroundings to deal with them. Seyoon snaps and tries to attack Suk-dae with his pen, but the big man grips his wrist. However, that has just been a diversion set up by Seyoon. The boy uses his other hand to hit Suk-dae, and then throws dirt from a flower right in the eyes of the other guys. Only two bullies stand in his way, but they decide to move aside when they see what Seyoon can do. However, Suk-dae gets back up, grabs Seyoon, and smashes him harshly. Yongbin and his friends get the chance they have been waiting for, so they start kicking Seyoon. At that time, Suho appears like a guardian angel, and hits the bullies again. Suho helps Seyoon up, but the fight is not over. Suho is attacked by Suk-dae, and the two of them engage in a fierce fistfight, while Yongbin and the rest of the bullies attack Seyoon. This time, they manage to get him on the ground and are about to hit him pretty bad, but Beum-suk appears out of nowhere and charges at Yongbin, giving his friends an advantage. The good guys have obviously won the battle, so Suho tells Suk-dae to end it. Suk-dae agrees with that, and walks away. Yongbin is disappointed at this turn of events. He expected the situation to turn in his favor, but there is not much he can do anyway. Suho tells his classmates to follow him, suggesting they go grab some food. The two young guys agree, but they have no idea what they signed up for just now. Suho takes them to the store where he works, and has them do some chores. He claims that he was late for work because of them, so now they have to help him do some of the work. However, the boys sit down to grab some food when the chores are finished. For the first time in his life, Seyoon feels like he has friends. It's been a busy day, so Seyoon can't stay up that night and study like he usually does. Elsewhere, Suk-dae has to deal with his boss, Gil-soo, who starts beating him up because he was hurt by the kids. He goes as far as to break his arm. Yongbin visits his cousin in the hospital, where Gil-soo tells him that what happened to Suk-dae was his fault. At the same time, Seyoon enters a store to buy an umbrella. Inside the store, he sees the girl who belongs to Suk-dae's group, shoplifting a lipstick, but decides to neglect her. However, the girl finds him at the register, and pretends to be his girlfriend in order to escape the store clerk. She also follows him outside because she does not have an umbrella, and forces him to follow her to dinner because she doesn't like to eat alone. The next day in class, Yongbin approaches Seyoon and his mates. He claims that he is facing legal trouble because of the drugs, asking Seyoon and Beum-suk to testify that there were no drugs involved ever. He falls to his knees and begs them for help, because he doesn't want to end up in jail. Suho comments that he is a bad actor, but Seyoon and Beum-suk decide to help him. Despite their generosity, Yongbin leads them right into a trap. Gil-soo and his people have been waiting for them. Gil-soo blames the boys supposedly for breaking Suk-dae's hand while fighting against him, so he asks them for money if they want to stay alive. He gives them 3 days to deliver, and tells them that he can give them a loan if they don't have money to pay him. Over the next couple of days, Gil-soo's people follow the boys everywhere. Seun sets up a meeting with Yi and secretly exits his house. Seun needs her help to get out of this situation, but still asks her if Gil-soo is going to leave them alone if they pay him. He clarifies that there is no such chance, so Seun proclaims that they have to trap Gil-soo. He reveals that Gil-soo and one of his partners run an online gambling website which is a scam. It lures people in by offering them a sign-up bonus and allowing them to win in the beginning, but later, the website gets all of their money and puts them into debt. He can help Seun by taking pictures of the records and the contracts that Gil-soo offers to his victims. The next day at school, the boys meet up in class and start conversing. They know today is the day Gil-soo will come asking for his money. Beum-suk has sold an expensive watch that his father had gifted him and has the money to pay Gil-soo. The other two believe they should not pay him. Instead, they should call the police and trap Gil-soo. However, they know that the pictures he sent to Seun are not going to be enough. They believe their best chance is to lead the police to Gil-soo's location. When the boys walk outside, they notice that Gil-soo is waiting for them right outside the school. Suho tells the other to go back and be ready to call the police, while he tries to convince Gil-soo to take him back to his shelter. With that in mind, Suho walks up to him pretending he has no money to give him. However, he has a business proposal that will make Gil-soo even more money. Suho was an influential figure in the school, so he can convince the students to play Gil-soo's casino games. Suho asks him if he has an office where they can talk, and Gil-soo tells him to get in the car. Once they leave, he tells Seun that what they did was not a good idea. Suho should have never gotten in that car. Being worried about his friend, Seun asks if he knows where they might take Suho. Thankfully, he suspects the place and gives Seun the address. At the same time, Beum-suk is afraid for Suho, so he gets a taxi to follow the bad guys and pay them. In the meantime, he tells Suk-dae that they should help the students. The life they are living is not righteous, and they are going to end up monsters like Gil-soo sooner or later. Suho activates the recorder on his smartwatch, but Gil-soo is not that naive. As soon as they arrive at his location, he requires to see Suho's phone. Suho is reluctant to show it to him, so Gil-soo beats him up for good. Simultaneously, Beum-suk asks at their door to hand them the money, asking Gil-soo to release Suho. Gil-soo not only takes the money, but he also forces Beum-suk to get inside one of the cars. His men empty the place and they depart. A few minutes later, Seun arrives there with the police, but it's too late. On top of that, the policemen say they have no warrant to search this place, so they can't just go inside. When the policemen leave, Seun climbs over the fence and gets into the house. He realizes that everybody is gone. He gets extremely worried when he sees blood stains on the floor. Unfortunately, the safe has also been emptied, so there is no proof he can find. While driving, Gil-soo calls Suk-dae and orders him to meet him at the location he is heading to. Suk-dae agrees to go, but tells Yi and the others to stay put. After saying that he will go alone, he gives Yi his debit card and walks away. Yi immediately calls Seun, asking him to download an app that can synchronize their location and show them on the map. Then, she follows Suk-dae and clarifies that she will not leave him go alone. When Suk-dae presents himself in front of Gil-soo, the boss kicks him to the ground and starts beating him with a metal pipe, because he believes Suk-dae is incompetent. After serving him a good beating, he takes one of the young boys who owes him money and tells him that he will take the blame for stabbing Beum-suk and Suho. The young boy trembles out of fear and has no other choice but to obey. When Gil-soo is about to stab the two schoolboys, Suk-dae gets back up and grabs him from behind, smashing him away. With this move, it becomes clear that Suk-dae has had a change of heart. He is not one of Gil-soo's men anymore. The two of them engage in a strong fight that looks like kung fu, but Gil-soo is the one who wins by pinning Suk-dae on the ground. However, Yi will not allow him to harm the students, so she attacks him with a vase on the back of his head. Then, she grabs his knife and threatens Gil-soo and his men. The boss is not scared of her and manages to steal the knife back. As he is about to attack Yi, Seun appears and stalls him. Yi finds an opening and proceeds to untie Beum-suk with Suho. The bad guys run away because they believe the police are coming, but they return when they realize that the sirens they heard were just a sound coming from a phone set up by Seun. Suho finds that very funny, because Seun even tricked his friends with it. Now it's time for the two parties to fight against each other. While chaos ensues, Yi picks Suk-dae up, and they decide to run away now that everyone is busy. However, they stumble on the real police and they run the other way. In the meantime, Suho and Seun fight a good battle, but they are outnumbered. Seun is not as experienced in battle as Suho, so he is beaten up. Despite this, the police eventually find them, and the fight stops. Gil-soo is not going to give up that easily. He pushes one of his men on the policeman and runs away. Seun is decisive and runs after him. The underworld boss is not going to escape. Seun stops him at the docks, but Gil-soo is quite skilled and beats him up. Suho joins the fight, but Gil-soo still manages to fight the boy. Eventually, the students team up on him, and Suho finishes him with a kick. At the same time, Suk-dae locks Yi and the other boy behind a metal door, telling them to run away. He does not want to leave him, but Suk-dae has to do the right thing and give himself in. Later, everyone is taken to the police station. A bodyguard belonging to Beam's father's men enters the room and tells Seun he is free to go. The only thing he asks him to do is to keep this a secret. Then, the guard takes Beam-suk to a room with Gil-soo. He tells the young boy that his father wants him to punch Gil-soo hard. Beam-suk can't do it because he doesn't have it inside of him. Gil-soo tries to attack, but the guard puts him in his place. Eventually, Beam-suk just walks outside. Suho is taken to a hospital, and Seun pays him a visit. The purpose of his visit is not just to check up on him but also to introduce Suho to his new friend, Yi. Later, Seun proceeds to grab some food for both of his friends, a gesture that leaves them speechless. Seun lets out a little smile, showing that he has finally found some people he can connect with. Things are not as pleasant for Beam-suk, who returns home and presents himself in front of his father. His father is a congressman who preaches about his beneficial youth programs, placing special emphasis on the importance of helping young people build their lives. But at the same time, it seems like he and Beam-suk have a routine. Beam-suk lies flat on the ground while his father grabs a golf bat. The congressman moves above his son and starts blaming him for being useless. He says that it was a huge mistake to take him in and starts beating him with the bat. The next morning at school, Beam-suk is approached by a bunch of kids who ask him if the rumors are real. Beam-suk feels important for the first time in his life. The good mood continues later that day when he and his friends meet up in the school cafeteria to grab lunch. They crack jokes with one another, and Suho tells them that they should go grab some drinks later today. In the evening, Beam-suk prepares to go out. He takes some time to check on Instagram and realizes that Suho is uploading many pictures of himself with E, while he is not even following Beam-suk back. When they meet, Beam-suk feels like he is left behind while Suho and Yi are having a fun time. When they visit a store to grab some smoothies, Seun joins the group and sits with the other two, while Beam-suk is waiting to get the drinks. As he stares at the group, he feels like an outsider, like nobody is paying him any attention. The kids decide to have some fun by singing karaoke when Beam-suk gets up to grab some refreshments for everyone. Beam gets absolutely terrified when he sees his old bullies from his previous school. He is so scared of them that he hides in the bathroom. The bullies believe they saw Beam-suk and start looking around for him, but they can't find him. When he returns to his friends, Beam-suk notices that he has answered a call from one of his bullies. He terminates the call and starts shouting at her, which leads to a confrontation. Suho pushes him back and tells him to stop it. Yi decides to leave, and Suho follows after her. Seun is more understanding and tries to figure out what's going on with Beam-suk. Suddenly, Beam's bullies find him and are about to start messing with him, but Seun stands his ground. He tells the bullies that they are talking, forcing them to leave them alone. The next day in class, Beam-suk notices some boys talking and laughing. He believes that they are laughing at him, so he gets up and asks one of them if he has a death wish. Seun attempts to calm him down, but Beam-suk still wants to pick a fight with this random guy. Suho approaches them and pulls Beam-suk away, but that only makes him angrier. Beam-suk snaps at Suho and tells him to stop pushing him around because he has grown sick of it. During the weekend, Beam is bothered by the bullies, who call him non-stop. Suho and Seun decide to visit him. As soon as they see him, they ask him why he's not answering his phone. As they walk inside, Suho notices a picture of Beam-suk with his family and comments that his family looks beautiful. However, Beam-suk now reveals that this is not his real family. His father adopted him when he became a congressman in order to improve his public image. When the classmates sit down, Seun notices that Beam-suk is not himself lately. He asks him if those guys they met the other day are to blame, a question that causes Beam-suk to open up. He reveals that those guys are the bullies who made his life a living hell in the previous school he attended. They had a habit of picking on him, and they beat him up every day. Since Beam-suk seems to be needing some kind of closure, Suho asks him to message those bullies for a meeting, and they will make them apologize. Indeed, the three friends meet with the bullies. Suho tells them how the night is going to go. They have to apologize to Beom-suk, or else they will get beat up. The leader of the bullies is not in the mood to do that, but Suho grabs his ear and makes it clear that he has no other choice. The bully offers an apology, and Beom-suk slaps him, because he believes the bully does not mean it. The bully hits him back, but Suho grabs him and pushes him against the wall. Beom-suk attempts to attack the bully with a bottle, but Suho stops him. Beom-suk only becomes angrier and walks away. His friends catch up to him, but this time Beom decides to tell Suho everything he feels about him. He believes that Suho is looking down at him, constantly pushing him around and telling him what to do. As the two boys exchange some rough words, Seun tries to de-escalate the tension by telling Suho to relax. To the contrary, Suho pushes Beom-suk to the wall, and the two former friends spill it out on one another. Eventually, they part ways as Beom-suk doesn't want anything to do with them. Seun runs behind him while Beom-suk walks away, but the latter claims he wants to be alone. While he walks, Beom's old bullies find him, but they are also faced with a group of bullies from Beom's current school. The bullies from his current school decide to help Beom, because there is also the benefit of stealing the money of the other bullies. They take them in an underground garage. Being in a dominant position, Beom-suk snaps at the leader of his old bullies and serves him some good kicks. The other guys ask him if he is done, and then invite him for a drink. At the club, the guys want to buy a bottle of alcohol to impress some girls, and Beom-suk pays for it. He merges with the group, and they take some pictures to upload on their social media. Beom-suk also opens his social media page to block Suho. Then, he takes another bottle of alcohol and walks over to some girls, telling them they should drink together. The next morning in class, Seun notices that Beom-suk is a complete mess. But apart from that, Beom-suk goes to sit near the bullies. At the cafeteria, Beom sits with them again. Seun decides to approach him and asks him to have a private chat. When they do, Beom-suk clarifies that he wants nothing to do with Suho. Suho considers himself better than anybody, and Beom-suk can't stand that. Suho listens to them talking, but Beom-suk tells him it makes no difference. Maybe it's better he heard him. Finally, Beom-suk just walks away from them. That night, Beom goes out with the group of bullies again. Yongbin introduces him to a guy named Khan who is training hard to join the UFC one day. At the same time, Seun is keeping company with Suho, who is working another night shift. The two of them briefly comment on Beom's behavior, but Suho believes that they should let him go if he wants to hang out with those bullies. As the days go by, Beom-suk spends more and more time with his new friends. He even switches desks in class to sit nearer to them. Seun wants to make sure that his friend is safe. He takes the two bullies for a talk and warns them to not take advantage of Beom-suk. The bullies reply that Beom likes to be with them, and he is willingly paying for everything. When Seun walks away, Suho tells him that he has done enough. They should let Beom-suk follow his own path. The boys continue their talk in the school cafeteria, until they see the bullies skipping the line and proceeding to grab their meal first. Suho tells them to get back in line, but the bullies are not certain how to act. Suho grabs one of them and sends him mopping the floor with his body. The rest of the bullies go back in line, but Beom-suk pretends to be a tough guy. Suho issues a warning, but Beom-suk replies he doesn't want to go back in the line. As it appears, that was the wrong answer since Suho pushes him hard. The rest of the bullies help him up, and Beom-suk goes back in line. When the school is off, Beom expresses to his new friends that he wants to hurt Suho. The guys set up a meeting with Kang, and Beom-suk asks him if he can beat Suho. Kang is confident he can take him, so Beom offers to pay him if he fights against Suho. When Kang leaves, Yongbin reveals that Kan and Suho are old rivals. The two of them had competed in a cage fight in the past, and Suho won. Kang is eager to get revenge. He has continued training while Suho has given up, but the bad guys decide to take another form of action as well. When Suho makes a pizza delivery, they cut his motorcycle's brakes. When Suho hops on his scooter again, the brakes are not working, and he is involved in an accident. The next day in class, Beom-suk can't help but stare at Suho when he walks inside the classroom. Suho stares back at him, probably because he suspects Beom-suk had something to do with his accident. A few days later, Lee and Seun are preparing Suho's house for his birthday. At the same time, Beom-suk calls Kang and tells him that it is time for his fight. When he takes some time to relax on the couch, Beom-suk messages her asking her to not tell anyone about it. He claims he wants to give her a gift for Suho, but he knows the boys will not accept it if they learn it came from him. Yi believes him and proceeds to meet him, but soon realizes that she has been lured into a trap. In fact, she will be used as bait for Suho to come to the place the bad guys want him to be. Back in the house, Seun sees a message on Suho's phone. It's from Beom Suk, who is asking him to go to a warehouse to get Yi. Seun doesn't want Suho's birthday to be ruined, so he deletes the messages, turns his phone off, and then hides it under the cushion. Seun goes to the designated location and starts thinking of ways he can use the environment to his advantage, recalling a history lesson about the Spartans, who used a narrow passage to fight against their enemies. With a wrench in his hand, Seun manages to take Yi and run away with her. The bullies go after him, but Seun emerges victorious against them, using his surroundings to defeat them. But then, Kang comes to fight him and beats him up. Yangbin finds an opportunity to unleash his fury on Seun. Beom Suk tries to stop him because he has nothing against Seun. The one he wants is Suho. However, Yangbin blames him for being selfish. He can't miss this opportunity. Then, Yangbin starts beating Seun with a pipe as Beom Suk walks away. Outside, Kang tells Beom that he still wants to get paid even though he didn't fight Suho. The bullies retreat when they hear the police arriving. Seun is picked up and put into an ambulance. He starts telling two police officers about what happened, but Seun claims that it was just an accident. The police officers try to convince him that he is safe and he can talk to them, but Seun insists that he just slipped and hurt himself. Suho starts figuring out that something is off when he loses touch with Seun. The straight-A student misses class for a few days. Suho calls him, but Seun does not reply. Then, Suho finds Yi at work and asks her if something is wrong. Yi tells him that everything is fine, but Seun is acting strangely. Back at the school, Suho finds the bullies and asks them to tell Beom Suk that he has to pay for the damage they caused to his scooter. The bullies pretend they have no idea what he's talking about, but Suho slaps them in order to help them remember. Later on the roof, Suho corners the bullies and starts punching them one by one. One of them breaks and tells him what they did. Then, Suho meets with Yi again in order to confirm if what the bullies say is true. Suho also visits Seun to check on him. Seun tries to hide his injured hand, but it's too late. Suho already knows everything. In the meantime, the congressman returns home, and he is really angry at Beom Suk. He beats him up once more. Beom Suk runs out of the house and gets a taxi, but one of the bodyguards gets a picture of it. Inside the taxi, Beom Suk receives a picture of the beaten bullies by Suho. In the picture, Suho has made all of them kneel. Meanwhile, Suho has also found young Bin and gives him a rough time. Bin exclaims that he had no involvement in what happened, because Beom Suk was the one to plan everything. Suho now calls Beom Suk and tells him it is time for the big face-off. Beom calls Kang immediately and tells him that he will pay him again if he fights Suho. At the same time, he calls Seun, telling him that they need to find Suho because she is afraid he is going to look for retribution against Beom and his group. Soon, Suho meets everyone at a gym. He has a short talk with Beom Suk and punches him, because he has turned out to be a disgusting person. Then, Kang invites him in the ring, but Suho wants to warm up first. As a warm-up, he beats up everyone else. Then, he gets in the ring, and Kang starts a live stream, saying that he is going to get revenge on the guy who defeated him back in high school. The two athletes start fighting, but Suho proves to be superior. Kang targets Suho's left leg because he knows he has injured it in the past, but the delivery boy turns the tables on Kang and knocks him down. However, one of the bullies trips Suho over. Kang finds an opening and kicks Suho in the face, knocking him out. Beom Suk enters the ring, and Suho utters to him that he has been turned into a monster. Beom gets angry because he believes Suho is inferior to him, and starts kicking him hard. The bullies join him and all of them beat him up until he is unconscious. The bullies realize that he is not breathing, and they start running away, but one of the congressman's bodyguards stops two of them, and forces them to stay behind to take the blame for what happened. He reassures the bullies that the congressman will take care of it, and they will not be charged legally. Beom Suk now changes his attitude, and starts crying when he sees Suho in this condition. There is nothing he can do now. The bodyguards take him away. In the meantime, Seun visits the place where he found the bullies holding Yi the last time. He believed this would be the place where Suho would meet Beom Suk, but it is not. Back in the gym, one of the congressman's guards tells Kang to delete the video he recorded from inside the ring. He also asks the two bullies if they remember what they should tell the police. As it appears, he will orchestrate everything to look like Beam-suk had no involvement with it. Back in the house, the congressman announces that he will send Beam-suk to live in the Philippines. He warns him that nobody should learn he is his son, but he also threatens him about hiring a killer to kill him once he lands there. Beam-suk looks just like a soulless ragdoll. The next morning, Seun goes to school, but he does not find Suho sleeping there as usual. He tries to text him and call him, but Suho does not reply to either the text or calls. Finally, Seun finds Suho in the hospital. Suho was in a coma. His grandma informs Seun that somebody offered to pay all of his expenses. Seun bursts into cries. Then, he walks outside and has a talk with Yi. He says that he has something to do, but he tells him to be careful because she doesn't want to lose her friends. To begin with, Seun visits Bin's new school and asks around where his classroom is. When Bin gets into the class, everybody looks funnily at him, which makes him wonder what's going on. Out of the blue, Seun surprises him and starts beating him. Then he impales him with a pen on his shoulder. Seun asks for information, and Bin shows him the video of the gym, which he has saved on his phone. Since he has taken what he needs from Bin, Seun proceeds to find Kong. He tries to sneak up on him, but Kong senses him, and they start fighting. Seun recalls some of the boxing lessons that Suho had taught him in the past, and uses them to fight. He manages to damage Kong but also plays it smart, and causes him to hurt himself on a dumbbell. Then, Seun uses another dumbbell to smash his leg. While Kong drags his body across the floor, he says that what he did was just a normal fight. He got paid to do it. Regardless, Seun smashes his leg even harder. In the meantime, the congressman has decided to visit Beam's school along with his son in order to greet the students and teachers goodbye. On their way, he jumps in front of the car and starts yelling at Beam for everything he has done. On the other hand, Beam-suk yells back at her because he believes she is the one to blame. She got between him and his friends. She is the reason they divided from one another. Soon, Beam-suk arrives at the school and sits in the class one last time. Seun walks in with a fire extinguisher and beats the bullies. Beam-suk stays put in his seat, expecting what's coming to him. Seun pushes him on the floor and mounts him, ready to punch him. Beam asks Seun to hit him, but the latter doesn't do it. Beam-suk has ended up being a pathetic human being who has no purpose in life, so maybe he has already gotten what he deserves. Finally, Seun walks outside the class, and his teachers try to stop him. However, he angrily punches the window and yells to the top of his lungs that he wants to be left alone. Then, he visits Suho in the hospital. Thankfully, his friend is alive and is already feeling better. Seun is not going to face any legal trouble, but the congressman makes sure that no school in the city will accept him. There is only one school that accepts him as a student, a school of degenerates far away from town. When Seun joins his new class, he witnesses total chaos. A bully approaches him, trying to intimidate him, but Seun is forged in fire and gets his pen ready to attack. But who knows what the future holds? A mysterious man full of tattoos receives a picture of Seun. A male voice tells this boss that this is the boy who defeated their athlete, asking what they should do with him.